The stagecoach rattled to a stop in a cloud of dust, and Olivia Taylor clutched her small valise with trembling hands. Tears streamed down her face, smudging the carefully applied powder she'd put on that morning in a desperate attempt to look presentable. Through the window of the coach, she could see the small town of Benton. Colorado sprawled before her, the same town she'd arrived at just 3 days prior with such hope in her heart. It was June 1878, and at 22 years old, Olivia had traveled over 1,000 miles from Boston to marry a man she'd never met. Now she was being sent back, rejected and humiliated. "Last stop before we head east, madam," the driver called down. "10 minutes to stretch your legs." Olivia nodded mutely and stepped down from the coach, her legs unsteady beneath her. The journey west had depleted nearly all her savings, and the return journey would take what little she had left. What would await her in Boston? Nothing but shame and the workhouse. The town of Benton bustled with midday activity. Miners, ranchers, and townspeople moved purposefully along the boardwalks while horses and wagons traversed the dusty main street. Olivia stood beside the stagecoach, lost and alone, when a deep voice spoke beside her. "Miss, are you all right?" She turned to find a tall man regarding her with concerned eyes. He wore the practical clothing of a rancher, worn denim, sturdy boots, a simple cotton shirt rolled at the sleeves, and a wide-brimmed hat shading his sun-weathered face. His expression was gentle, at odds with his rugged appearance. "I'm fine," she lied, wiping at her tears. "Thank you for asking, sir. You don't look fine, if you'll pardon me saying so." He removed his hat, revealing thick chestnut hair that curled slightly at the ends. "I'm Cole Kincaid. I run the Double K Ranch outside of town." "Olivia Taylor," she replied automatically, her voice catching. I was a mail-order bride." Understanding dawned in his blue eyes. "For Jeremiah Walton." Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks as she nodded. "He said I was too plain, too educated, not what he expected." She swallowed hard. "He paid the stage-coach driver to take me back east." Cole's jaw tightened, his gaze shifting briefly toward the saloon where Jeremiah Walton was likely drinking away the afternoon as he did most days. "All aboard," the driver called. "Heading east in 2 minutes." Olivia's shoulders slumped. "I should go. I have nowhere else." Cole Kincaid reached out and gently took her hand in his larger one. His touch was warm, calloused from honest work, but infinitely gentle. "You do not have to go back," he said firmly, his eyes holding hers. "Not if you don't want to." Something in his steady gaze made her breath catch. "But where would I go? What would I do? I don't know anyone here." "Benton needs a schoolteacher," Cole said. "The last one left 2 months ago to get married. I'm on the town council. We've been looking for someone with education." Hope flickered within her. "I taught at a small school in Boston for 3 years. A smile transformed his face. "Then perhaps this is Providence, Miss Taylor." The stagecoach driver called once more. Olivia glanced at the coach, then back at Cole Kincaid's outstretched hand. "I can't promise you wealth or luxury," Cole said quietly. "But I can promise you won't face this alone. You deserve better than to be sent away like unwanted goods." Olivia hesitated only a moment longer before placing her valise on the ground. "I'll stay," she said, her voice strengthening with each word. "I'll teach." Cole squeezed her hand gently before releasing it. "Let me speak to the driver about your trunk." As he strode toward the stagecoach, Olivia took a deep breath and looked around at what might now become her home. Benton was nothing like Boston, rough around the edges, dusty and wild, but for the first time since she'd been rejected by Jeremiah Walton, she felt something other than despair. She felt possibility. Little did she know that this chance encounter with Cole Kincaid would change the course of her life forever. Cole returned shortly with her trunk, which the stagecoach driver had grudgingly unloaded. "Mrs. Hoffman runs the boarding house on Pine Street," he explained. "She's a good woman, a bit nosy but kind-hearted. She'll give you a fair price on a room until you get settled." Olivia looked at her trunk, then at her small purse. "I'm afraid my funds are quite limited after the journey west. Jeremiah was supposed to." "The school comes with living quarters," Cole said quickly. "Small but comfortable from what I understand, and the town pays a monthly salary. It's not much, but enough to live on." He paused. "But until we can convene the council and make things official, please allow me to advance you enough for a week's board." Olivia straightened her shoulders. "I couldn't possibly consider it an investment in Benton's educational future," Cole insisted with a smile. "You can repay me from your first month's wages if it makes you feel better." Before she could protest further, a woman approached them. She was perhaps 45, plump and cheerful-looking, with graying blonde hair tucked beneath a practical bonnet. "Cole Kincaid, don't tell me you're monopolizing our visitor before she's even had a chance to settle in," the woman said with a teasing tone. "Mrs. Hoffman," Cole acknowledged with a tip of his hat. "This is Miss Olivia Taylor. She's come to apply for the teaching position." Mrs. Hoffman's eyes widened in surprise before darting between them. Olivia realized how this must look, her tear-stained face, Cole's protective stance. "Actually," Olivia began, "I came as a response to our need for a teacher," Cole interrupted smoothly. "Miss Taylor taught school in Boston for 3 years and has just arrived on the westbound stage." Understanding flickered in Mrs. Hoffman's eyes, but she simply smiled and extended her hand. "We're so pleased to have you, Miss Taylor. Benton has 15 school-age children desperate for learning. You're an answer to many mothers' prayers." Olivia took the woman's hand, grateful for her tact. "Thank you, Mrs. Hoffman. Miss Taylor needs lodging until the school quarters can be prepared," Cole explained. "Of course. I have a lovely room facing the garden," Mrs. Hoffman said. "And the first night's dinner is always on the house for new arrivals." Cole gestured to a young boy loitering nearby. "Tommy, earn yourself a quarter by taking Miss Taylor's trunk to Mrs. Hoffman's, will you?" The boy eagerly grabbed the handle of the trunk, struggling only slightly with its weight before heading down the street. Mrs. Hoffman touched Olivia's arm gently. "Come along, dear. You look like you could use a cup of tea and a rest. The journey must have been exhausting." Olivia looked back at Cole, who stood with his hat in his hands. "Mr. Kincaid, I don't know how to thank you." "No thanks necessary, Miss Taylor. I'll speak to Mayor Harrison this afternoon about making your position official." His expression hardened momentarily. "And I'll have a word with Jeremiah Walton as well." "Please don't," Olivia said quickly. It's better this way." Cole studied her face for a moment, then nodded. "As you wish. But if you need anything at all, the Double K Ranch is just 3 miles north of town. Anyone can point you in the right direction." "Thank you," she said simply, knowing words were inadequate for the kindness he'd shown a complete stranger. As Mrs. Hoffman led her toward the boarding house, Olivia felt Cole's gaze following her. She wondered what twist of fate had placed him at the stagecoach stop at precisely the moment she needed someone most. The boarding house was a 2-story wooden structure with a wide front porch adorned with potted flowers. Inside, it smelled of baking bread and furniture polish, homey scents that made Olivia's tense shoulders relax slightly. "Now then," Mrs. Hoffman said as she showed Olivia to a small but clean room on the 2nd floor, "let's get you settled. I suspect there's quite a story as to how you really came to be in Benton, but that can wait until you've rested." Olivia sat on the edge of the bed, suddenly overcome with emotion. "You're very kind." Mrs. Hoffman patted her hand. "Out here, kindness isn't just a virtue, it's a necessity." We all need help sometimes. She hesitated. Cole Kincaid is a good man, one of the best in these parts. Whatever brought you to his attention, you can trust him. After Mrs. Hoffman left, Olivia unpacked her few belongings and washed her face in the basin provided. The woman in the small mirror looked tired and afraid, but there was something new in her eyes' determination. She had come west seeking a new life. It hadn't begun as she expected, but perhaps that was for the best. Jeremiah Walton, with his cold eyes and cutting words, had shown his true character immediately. What if she had discovered it only after they were married? As evening fell, Olivia joined the other boarders for dinner, a traveling salesman, an elderly widow, and a young couple passing through to Denver. Mrs. Hoffman kept the conversation flowing, allowing Olivia to observe rather than participate. After the meal, Olivia excused herself to the small parlor where a bookshelf held a modest selection of volumes. She was examining them when the front door opened, and Cole Kincaid stepped inside, removing his hat as he crossed the threshold. "Mr. Kincaid," Olivia said, surprised to see him again so soon. "Miss Taylor," he nodded. "I hope I'm not disturbing you. I've just come from speaking with Mayor Harrison and the other council members who were available." "Already?" "Small towns move quickly when they need to," he said with a smile. "They're pleased to have a qualified teacher and have asked if you could meet with them tomorrow at 10 o'clock at the town hall. It's just a formality, but they'd like to make your appointment official." Relief flooded through her. "Thank you. I'll be there. I also took the liberty of asking Mrs. Peterson. She cleans the church and school to prepare the teachers' quarters. They should be ready by tomorrow afternoon." Olivia was overwhelmed by his efficiency. "You've done so much for a complete stranger, Mr. Kincaid. I don't understand why." Cole was quiet for a moment. "My mother came west as a mail-order bride," he finally said. "She was fortunate my father was a good man who grew to love her deeply, but I've seen other women who weren't so lucky." His eyes met hers. "No one deserves to be treated as less than human, Miss Taylor." The simple dignity in his words touched Olivia deeply. "Well, I am grateful nonetheless." He twisted his hat in his hands. "There's something else. Jeremiah Walton came looking for you this afternoon." Olivia's heart raced with sudden fear. "What did he want?" "Apparently, he had second thoughts after you'd gone. When he couldn't find you, someone told him I'd been speaking with you at the stage stop." Cole's jaw tightened. "He wasn't pleased." "What did you tell him?" "That you decided to take the teaching position, and that your personal decisions were no longer his concern." Cole's expression softened. "He won't trouble you, Miss Taylor. I made that clear." Olivia could only imagine what that conversation had entailed. "Thank you," she said simply. "Well, I should let you rest. Tomorrow will be a busy day." He placed his hat back on his head and moved toward the door. "Good night, Miss Taylor." "Good night, Mr. Kincaid." As the door closed behind him, Olivia realized she was smiling for the first time since arriving in Colorado. The following morning, Olivia dressed carefully in her best dress, a navy blue cotton with white piping at the collar and cuffs. She arranged her auburn hair neatly and pinched her cheeks for color before heading to the town hall. Mayor Harrison was a portly man with mutton chop whiskers and a booming voice that filled the small meeting room. The town council consisted of 5 members, including Cole, who gave her an encouraging nod as she entered. "Miss Taylor," Mayor Harrison greeted her. "Mr. Kincaid tells us you have experience teaching back east." "Yes, sir. I taught for 3 years at a small school in Boston. Before that, I attended the normal school for teacher training." The questions that followed were straightforward, focusing on her educational philosophy, ability to handle children of different ages and abilities, and willingness to adapt to the needs of a frontier community. "The salary is $30 a month," Mayor Harrison explained. Plus room and board at the school. It's not much compared to Eastern standards. It's more than fair, Olivia assured him. I'm grateful for the opportunity. The vote to appoint her was unanimous. As the meeting adjourned, several council members shook her hand and welcomed her to Benton. Cole waited until the others had left before approaching her. Congratulations, Miss Taylor. Benton is fortunate to have you. Thanks to you, she replied. I don't know what would have happened if the door to the town hall burst open and Jeremiah Walton stormed in. He was a tall man with a prominent nose and small, hard eyes that narrowed when he saw Olivia. There you are, he growled, the smell of whiskey emanating from him despite the early hour. I paid good money to bring you out here, woman. Olivia stepped back, but Cole moved between them. Walton, we've already discussed this. Miss Taylor is now Benton's schoolteacher. The hell she is. I sent for her, paid her way west. His angry gaze fixed on Olivia. You signed a contract. A contract you broke when you rejected me and paid to send me away, Olivia said, finding her voice. You have no claim on me, Mr. Walton. Jeremiah lunged forward, but Cole caught his arm in a steel grip. That's enough, Cole said, his voice dangerously quiet. Miss Taylor is under the protection of this town now. Go home and sleep it off. For a tense moment, Jeremiah stood glaring at them both. Then he wrenched his arm free and pointed a finger at Olivia. This isn't over, he spat before stalking out. Olivia released the breath she'd been holding. He's right. The contract was nullified when he rejected the arrangement, Cole finished firmly. Don't worry about Walton. His bark is worse than his bite, especially when he's been drinking. Despite his reassurance, Olivia couldn't shake her unease as Cole escorted her to the schoolhouse, a simple but well-maintained building at the edge of town. The attached living quarters consisted of 2 small rooms, a bedroom and a combination sitting room and kitchen with a cast-iron stove. Mrs. Peterson, a thin, energetic woman in her 60s, had swept, dusted, and aired out the rooms. It's not fancy, she apologized, but it's clean and sound. It's perfect, Olivia assured her. After the cramped boarding house she'd shared with 3 other teachers in Boston, these quarters seemed spacious and private. Over the next days, Olivia settled into her new home and role. She met many of the parents and children who would soon be her students, developed lesson plans for the different age groups, and gradually began to feel a sense of belonging in Benton. Cole Kincaid stopped by every few days, ostensibly to check on her progress or bring news from the town council. But Olivia sensed there was more to his visits. She found herself looking forward to seeing him, to their conversations that ranged from books they'd both read to the challenges of frontier life. She learned he'd been born on the Double K Ranch, that his parents had passed away 5 years earlier, and that he now ran the ranch with his younger brother, Cooper. She told him about growing up in Boston, losing her parents to influenza when she was 16, and how teaching had become both her passion and her means of survival. 2 weeks after her arrival in Benton, Olivia was arranging books on the schoolroom shelves when she heard a wagon approaching. Through the window, she saw Cole pulling up, a load of firewood in the back of his wagon. "Mr. Kincaid," she greeted him as he stacked the wood beside the schoolhouse. "You didn't need to bring firewood. It's the middle of summer. Better to prepare now than scramble when the first snow falls," he replied, removing his hat as he entered the schoolroom. "Winter comes early in these mountains." Olivia nodded, suddenly picturing herself here when snow blanketed the ground, teaching children bundled in warm clothes, the pot-bellied stove keeping the classroom cozy. "You've done wonders with the place," Cole remarked, looking around at the freshly cleaned schoolroom with its neatly arranged desks and educational charts Olivia had carefully hung. Thank you. I want everything to be perfect when classes begin next week. Cole hesitated. There's a social at the church tomorrow evening. Nothing fancy, just music, some dancing, and food brought by the townspeople. He twisted his hat in his hands. I wondered if you might like to attend, as my guest. The invitation surprised Olivia, though perhaps it shouldn't have. There had been something building between them over these past weeks, a connection that went beyond his initial kindness. I'd like that very much, she said softly. His smile lit up his face. I'll call for you at 6 then. After he left, Olivia found herself smiling as she continued arranging the schoolroom. For the first time since arriving in Colorado, she felt truly glad that the stagecoach had stopped in Benton, and that Cole Kincaid had been there to take her hand. The evening of the social, Olivia wore her second-best dress, a forest green that complemented her auburn hair and fair complexion. She had just finished securing the last hairpin when a knock sounded at her door. Cole stood on her small porch, freshly shaven and wearing a clean shirt with a string tie. He held his hat in his hands, and there was something almost shy in his expression as he took in her appearance. "Miss Taylor, you look lovely," he said. "Thank you, Mr. Kincaid. And please, after all you've done, I think you might call me Olivia." His smile deepened. "Only if you'll call me Cole." The church social was a lively affair. Olivia met more of Benton's residents, including Cole's brother Cooper, a younger version of Cole with the same chestnut hair but a more mischievous smile. She was introduced to the town doctor, the blacksmith and his wife, and numerous families whose children would soon be her students. Most welcomed her warmly, though she noticed a few women giving her speculative glances when they saw her arrive with Cole. It seemed the eldest Kincaid brother was considered quite a catch in Benton. "May I have this dance?" Cole asked as a fiddler struck up a lively tune. "I should warn you, I'm not very practiced at country dances," Olivia admitted. He took her hand. "Then I'll have to teach you." As they joined the other couples forming sets for a Virginia reel, Olivia found herself laughing as Cole guided her through the unfamiliar steps. His hand was warm and steady on hers, his blue eyes twinkling with enjoyment. They had just finished their second dance when Olivia noticed Jeremiah Walton enter the church, his gaze immediately seeking her out. Her smile faltered. "What is it?" Cole asked, following her gaze. "Mr. Walton," she murmured. "I haven't seen him since that day at the town hall." Cole's expression hardened. "He knows better than to cause trouble here." But as the evening progressed, Jeremiah continued to watch Olivia, his expression growing darker with each glass of punch he consumed. Olivia suspected he was fortifying from a flask in his pocket. She was helping serve cake when Jeremiah approached, blocking her path. "You're making a fool of yourself with Kincaid," he said, his words slightly slurred. "Everyone knows what you really are, damaged goods I sent back." Olivia's cheeks burned. "Please excuse me, Mr. Walton." He grabbed her arm as she tried to pass. "I paid for you. You belong to me." "Let go of me," Olivia said firmly, though her heart raced with fear. "Is there a problem?" Cole's voice came from behind her, quiet but steely. Jeremiah released her arm but sneered at Cole. "Just having a word with my bride." "Miss Taylor is not your bride," Cole said evenly. "And she's asked you to leave her alone." Several people had noticed the confrontation and were watching now. Jeremiah seemed to realize he was creating a scene and took a step back. "This isn't over," he muttered before stalking away. "Are you all right?" Cole asked, his eyes searching her face. "Yes," Olivia assured him, though her hands trembled slightly. "He just startled me." Cole frowned. "I'm beginning to think Walton might be more trouble than I anticipated." "He'll tire of this eventually," Olivia said, hoping she was right. The rest of the evening passed pleasantly. though Olivia was aware of Jeremiah watching from the corner where he stood drinking with a few other men. When the social wound down, Cole escorted her home, his hand protectively at her back. At her door, he hesitated. "I don't like leaving you alone with Walton in that mood." "I'll be fine," Olivia assured him. "The door has a good lock and the school begins soon. Once I'm established as the teacher, he'll have to accept that I'm here to stay." Cole didn't look convinced. "I could ask Mrs. Peterson to stay with you tonight." "Truly, I'll be fine," Olivia insisted, touched by his concern. "Thank you for a wonderful evening, Cole." He took her hand gently. "I enjoyed every minute of it." His eyes searched hers, and for a moment Olivia thought he might kiss her. Instead, he brought her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss to her knuckles. "Good night, Olivia." "Good night," she whispered, a pleasant warmth spreading through her at the tender gesture. The first day of school arrived with bright sunshine and clear skies. Olivia stood at the doorway of the schoolhouse, greeting each child and parent as they arrived. 15 children ranging from 6 to 16 filed into the schoolroom, their expressions varying from excitement to trepidation. The day passed in a whirlwind of assessments, getting to know each child's abilities and establishing routines. By the time the last student left, Olivia was exhausted but exhilarated. This was what she had trained to do, what she loved. For the first time since arriving in Benton, she felt truly at home. She was tidying the classroom when she heard footsteps on the porch. Expecting to see a parent or perhaps Cole, she was startled to find Jeremiah Walton standing in the doorway. "Mr. Walton," she said cautiously. "School is finished for the day." "I ain't here about school." He stepped inside, and Olivia noted with alarm that he'd been drinking again. "I've been thinking, maybe I was too hasty sending you back. You clean up nice enough." Olivia moved behind her desk, keeping it between them. "I'm not interested, Mr. Walton. I'm Benton's teacher now." He gave a dismissive wave. "You can teach and still be a wife. That's what I'm offering, a second chance." His eyes narrowed. "Unless you think you're too good for me now that Kincaid's been sniffing around." "My relationship with Mr. Kincaid is none of your concern," Olivia said firmly. "Now I have work to do. Please leave." Instead of complying, Jeremiah moved around the desk toward her. "You don't get to dismiss me, woman. I paid good money to bring you here." Olivia backed away, her heart pounding. "And then you paid to send me away. Whatever obligation existed between us is over." His face darkened with anger. "It's over when I say it's over." He lunged for her arm, but Olivia darted away, knocking over a stack of books in her haste. She made for the door, but Jeremiah was faster, grabbing her and spinning her around. "Let me go," she cried, struggling against his grip. "You ungrateful!" The door burst open, and Cooper Kincaid stood there, his young face hardening when he saw the scene before him. "Take your hands off her," Cooper demanded, stepping inside. Jeremiah released Olivia but sneered at Cooper. "This isn't your business, boy." "Miss Taylor is our teacher, and you're trespassing on school property," Cooper said, standing his ground. "I suggest you leave before my brother arrives." At the mention of Cole, something flickered in Jeremiah's eyes, wariness, perhaps even fear. "This isn't over," he muttered to Olivia before storming past Cooper and out the door. Olivia sagged against the desk, trembling. "Thank you, Cooper. How did you know?" "I was dropping off a note from Cole. He wanted to know if you needed any supplies from town." Cooper handed her a folded piece of paper. "Are you all right, Miss Taylor?" "Yes, just shaken," she admitted. "Please don't mention this to your brother. I don't want to cause trouble." Cooper looked doubtful. "Walton's the one causing trouble, not you. Cole should know." "Please," Olivia insisted. "I can handle Mr. Walton. He's all talk." Reluctantly, Cooper agreed, though his expression suggested he thought she was being foolish. After he left, Olivia sat at her desk, unfolding Cole's note with still trembling fingers. It was a simple inquiry about school supplies, but she traced his strong handwriting, finding comfort in it. That evening, Cole himself came to call, bringing a small crate of apples from his orchard. "First harvest of the season," he explained. "I thought your students might enjoy them." "That's very thoughtful," Olivia said, inviting him in. "Would you like some coffee?" As they sat at her small kitchen table, Cole noticed the books still scattered on the schoolroom floor through the open connecting door. "What happened there?" Olivia hesitated. "I was clumsy, knocked them over while cleaning." Cole's eyes narrowed. "Cooper was acting strangely when he returned home. Did something happen today that I should know about?" she sighed, realizing she couldn't hide the truth. "Jeremiah Walton came by after school. He was insistent that I reconsider his proposal." Cole's expression darkened. "Did he threaten you?" "Not exactly. Cooper arrived before anything truly alarming happened." Cole's hand tightened around his coffee cup. "This has gone on long enough. Walton needs to understand that he has no claim on you." "Please don't confront him," Olivia urged. "It will only inflame the situation." "I won't allow him to frighten you, Olivia. Not in your own school, not anywhere." The protective intensity in Cole's voice made her heart skip. "I appreciate your concern, but I'm not without resources," she assured him. "I've dealt with difficult parents before. Walton isn't a parent. He's a man with wounded pride who doesn't know when to quit." Cole reached across the table and took her hand. "I care about you, Olivia, more than I expected to." The admission hung in the air between them, honest and vulnerable. Olivia squeezed his hand. "I care about you too, Cole." The moment was interrupted by a loud knock at the door. Olivia opened it to find Mayor Harrison looking somber. "Miss Taylor, Mr. Kincaid," he acknowledged with a nod. "I'm afraid there's been an incident. Jeremiah Walton is making accusations at the saloon claiming you've broken a legal contract with him, Miss Taylor, and that Cole has interfered with his rights." Cole stood. "What rights? He rejected her and paid to send her away." "I know that, and you know that," Mayor Harrison said wearily. "But Walton's drunk and stirring up trouble. He's talking about bringing in the territorial marshal to enforce the contract." Olivia's hand flew to her throat. "Could he do that?" "Not successfully," Cole assured her, "but he could make things difficult." He turned to the mayor. "I'll go talk to him." "No," Mayor Harrison and Olivia said simultaneously. "That's exactly what he wants," the mayor explained. "A confrontation with you, Cole. He's spoiling for a fight." "Then what do you suggest?" Cole asked, frustration evident in his voice. "For tonight, nothing. Let him sleep it off. Tomorrow, Miss Taylor should visit Judge Morton with the letter Walton wrote dismissing her. The judge can issue a legal opinion that should put an end to these claims." After the mayor left, Cole was reluctant to leave Olivia alone. "I don't trust Walton, especially when he's been drinking." "The school has good locks," she reminded him. "And as the mayor said, by tomorrow this will be resolved." Cole still looked worried as he prepared to leave. At the door, he paused. "Olivia, I meant what I said earlier. I care for you deeply. These past weeks, getting to know you." He shook his head, seemingly at a loss for words. "I feel the same," she admitted softly. Cole stepped closer, one hand gently cupping her cheek. "May I?" he whispered. At her nod, he lowered his head and kissed her, a gentle, questioning kiss that deepened when she responded. When they parted, his eyes were warm with affection. "Lock the door behind me," he instructed. "I'll see you tomorrow." Olivia watched from the window as he mounted his horse and rode away, her lips still tingling from his kiss. She secured the door and prepared for bed, her mind full of Cole Kincaid and the surprising turn her life had taken since that fateful day at the stagecoach stop. She had just dozed off when a crash jolted her awake. Glass shattered somewhere in the schoolroom, and the smell of smoke immediately filled the air. Olivia leaped from bed, grabbing her shawl as she rushed to the connecting door. The schoolroom was filling with smoke, flames already climbing the wall where a flaming torch had been thrown through the window. Without thinking, Olivia grabbed the bucket of water she kept for drinking and splashed it on the flames, but it wasn't enough. Coughing in the thickening smoke, she ran outside to the water pump, desperately working the handle to fill another bucket. As she turned to rush back inside, a figure emerged from the shadows. "See what you've done," Jeremiah Walton slurred, swaying where he stood. "All of this could have been avoided if you just honored your contract." "You're burning down the school," Olivia cried in disbelief. "There are children in this town who need education. Should have thought of that before you took up with Kincaid," he sneered. The flames were spreading rapidly now. Olivia pushed past Jeremiah, rushing back inside to try to save what she could. She grabbed the attendance book and the small lockbox containing the school funds, coughing as smoke filled her lungs. Outside, shouts indicated that others had spotted the fire. Townspeople began to arrive with buckets and blankets, forming a line from the water pump. Olivia joined them, passing buckets alongside the very parents whose children she taught. It was nearly dawn before the fire was finally extinguished. The schoolroom was severely damaged, the roof partially collapsed, books and desks destroyed, windows shattered. Olivia's living quarters had been saved, but smoke damage made them uninhabitable for now. Mayor Harrison approached her where she sat on a log, a blanket around her shoulders. "Miss Taylor, I'm so sorry this happened." "It was Jeremiah Walton," she said, her voice raspy from smoke. "He admitted it." The mayor nodded grimly. "We know. Sheriff Collins found him passed out behind the livery stable. He's locked up now." "The school," Olivia said, tears filling her eyes as she looked at the damaged building. "What will happen to the children's education? We'll rebuild," Mayor Harrison assured her. "Benton takes care of its own, and you're one of us now." As the sun rose, Cole arrived, his face etched with worry as he dismounted and rushed to Olivia's side. "Are you hurt?" he demanded, kneeling before her and taking her hands. "No, just smoky and tired," she assured him. "I should never have left you alone," he said, anger and regret in his voice. "When I heard about the fire—" "You couldn't have known what Jeremiah would do," she said. "None of us did." Cole looked over at the damaged schoolhouse, his jaw tight. "Where will you stay?" "Mrs. Hoffman has offered me a room," Mayor Harrison said, "until we can repair the school quarters." "No," Cole said firmly. "Olivia will stay at the Double K. We have plenty of room and she'll be safe there." Olivia's eyes widened. "Cole, I couldn't possibly. My housekeeper, Mrs. Becker, is there, so everything is entirely proper," he assured her. "Please, Olivia, I need to know you're safe." The earnestness in his eyes made it impossible to refuse. "All right," she agreed, "just until the school quarters are repaired." As Cole helped her gather what few belongings had survived the fire, Olivia felt a strange mix of emotions: grief over the damage to her school, anger at Jeremiah's destructive vindictiveness, but also a deepening connection to Cole and to Benton itself. This community had rallied around her in crisis, proving that she truly did belong here. The Double K Ranch was larger than Olivia had imagined, a sprawling ranch house with a wide porch, surrounded by well-kept-out buildings and corrals. As Cole helped her down from his wagon, Mrs. Becker emerged, a sturdy woman in her 50s with a no-nonsense manner. "I've prepared the blue room," she informed Cole, "and drawn a bath. The poor girl looks like she's been up a chimney." Olivia smiled despite her exhaustion. "Thank you, Mrs. Becker. That sounds heavenly." After bathing and changing into clean clothes Mrs. Becker had provided, Olivia felt somewhat restored. She joined Cole and Cooper in the dining room, where a simple but hearty meal awaited. "Sheriff Collins came by while you were resting," Cole informed her. "Walton's being charged with arson. Judge Morton will hold a hearing next week." "Will I need to testify?" Olivia asked. Cole nodded. "But don't worry, Walton won't be able to harm you again." Over the next few days, Olivia marveled at the community's response to the school fire. Men from all over the county arrived to help rebuild, bringing lumber and tools. Women organized a collection to replace books and supplies. While the school was being reconstructed, Olivia held classes in the church, unwilling to let the children's education lapse. Each evening, Cole would arrive to escort her back to the ranch, their rides providing precious time alone together. On one such evening, 2 weeks after the fire, Cole took a detour, leading them to a hilltop overlooking the ranch. "I wanted to show you something," he said as they dismounted. The view was spectacular, rolling hills giving way to distant mountains, golden in the setting sun. Below, the Double K spread out like a painting, peaceful and prosperous. "It's beautiful," Olivia breathed. "My father brought my mother here when he proposed," Cole said quietly. He told her that all he had to offer was what she could see from this hill: the land, the ranch, his heart. Olivia's pulse quickened as Cole took her hands in his. "I never expected to find you, Olivia Taylor. When I saw you at that stagecoach stop, tears on your face, I just wanted to help a stranger in need." His blue eyes were intense as they held hers. "I had no idea you would become so important to me so quickly." "Cole," she whispered, her heart full. "I know it's only been a short time, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life." He dropped to one knee before her. "Olivia, I love you. Would you do me the honor of becoming my wife? Not because you need protection or a place to stay, but because, if you feel as I do, we belong together." Tears blurred Olivia's vision, not tears of despair like those she'd shed at the stagecoach stop, but tears of joy. "Yes," she said simply. "I love you, Cole. Yes, I'll marry you." His smile was radiant as he rose and pulled her into his arms, sealing their engagement with a kiss that promised a lifetime of happiness. Jeremiah Walton's hearing was held the following week. Judge Morton, a stern man with gray hair and penetrating eyes, listened carefully to all testimony, including Olivia's account of Jeremiah's threatening behavior and admission to starting the fire. "The court finds Jeremiah Walton guilty of arson and criminal threatening," Judge Morton declared. "He is sentenced to 5 years in the territorial prison." As Jeremiah was led away in chains, he glared at Olivia and Cole. "This isn't justice," he spat. "On the contrary," Judge Morton replied coolly. "You're fortunate no one was injured in your reckless act, or the sentence would be much harsher." With Jeremiah headed to prison, Olivia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The school reconstruction was progressing well, and her relationship with Cole flourished. They set their wedding date for October, when the aspen trees would be golden and the harvest complete. "You'll have to find a new teacher," Olivia told Mayor Harrison. "Once I'm married, I'll be quite busy helping Cole run the ranch." "Nonsense," the mayor replied. "Mrs. Kincaid taught school for years after she married Cole's father. There's no reason you can't do the same, if that's what you want." The possibility of maintaining her identity as a teacher while embracing her new role as Cole's wife filled Olivia with joy. As summer turned to fall, the school reopened, rebuilt stronger and better than before. The new structure included improved living quarters, though Olivia would soon be moving to the Double K permanently. On her wedding day, Olivia stood in Mrs. Hoffman's best guest room, dressed in a cream-colored gown that the women of Benton had helped sew. A knock at the door revealed Mayor Harrison's wife, Anna, come to help with the finishing touches." "Every bride needs something borrowed," Anna said, fastening a delicate pearl necklace around Olivia's throat. "These were my mother's." Mrs. Hoffman appeared with a blue ribbon, "and something blue to weave into your bouquet." Tears threatened as Olivia embraced both women. "Thank you not just for today, but for making me feel at home here." "You made yourself at home," Mrs. Hoffman corrected gently. "By caring for our children, by persevering through difficulty, by opening your heart to this community." The small church was filled to capacity as Olivia walked down the aisle to where Cole waited, handsome in a new suit, his face alight with love. Cooper stood beside him as best man, grinning widely. "Dearly beloved," the minister began, "we are gathered here today to witness the union of Cole Kincaid and Olivia Taylor." As they exchanged vows, Olivia thought of the journey that had brought her to this moment, the heartbreak that had led to joy, the rejection that had opened the door to true love. When Cole slipped the gold band onto her finger, she felt as though her life was truly beginning. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the minister declared. "You may kiss your bride." Cole gathered her in his arms, kissing her with such tenderness that several women in the congregation dabbed at their eyes. The celebration that followed at the Double K Ranch lasted well into the night. There was dancing in the yard, food aplenty, and more well wishes than Olivia could count. As evening fell, lanterns were lit, casting a golden glow over the festivities. "Mrs. Kincaid," Cole murmured in her ear as they swayed together to a slow fiddle tune, "how does it feel?" "Perfect," she replied, tilting her face up to his. "Absolutely perfect." Later, after the guests had departed and they were finally alone in the master bedroom of the ranch house, Cole drew Olivia into his arms. "That day at the stagecoach stop," he said softly, "when I saw you in tears, something told me my life was about to change forever." "You saved me," Olivia whispered. Cole shook his head. "No, my love, you saved yourself when you chose to stay. I just had the good fortune to be there when you needed a hand to hold." As winter settled over Benton, Olivia found herself happier than she'd ever imagined possible. She continued teaching at the school 3 days a week, with a former student from Denver taking over the other 2 days. The arrangement allowed her to fulfill both her passion for education and her new responsibilities at the ranch. Cole proved to be a loving, considerate husband, always seeking her input on ranch matters and supporting her independence. Together, they made the Double K not just a successful cattle operation but a true home. Spring brought news that filled them both with joy. Olivia was expecting their first child. "A child," Cole marveled, his hand gentle on her still flat stomach. "Our child. Are you happy?" Olivia asked, though his radiant smile had already answered. "Beyond words," he assured her, kissing her tenderly. As her pregnancy progressed, Olivia reduced her teaching schedule but continued to oversee the school curriculum. The community embraced the news, with parents and students alike bringing gifts for the baby and offering help whenever needed. On a crisp December morning in 1879, almost exactly 18 months after Olivia had first arrived in Benton, their son was born, Charles Cooper Kincaid, named for both Cole and his brother. "He's perfect," Cole whispered, cradling his son with tears in his eyes, "just like his mother." As Olivia watched her husband with their child, she thought of how differently her life might have turned out if Cole hadn't been at the stagecoach stop that day, if he hadn't reached out his hand and said those life-changing words, "You do not have to go back." What had begun as the lowest point in her life, being rejected and returned like unwanted merchandise, had led her to true happiness. A loving husband, a beautiful child, a fulfilling career, and a community that valued her. 2 years later, they welcomed a daughter, Emma rose, completing their family. The Double K thrived under their joint management, becoming one of the most successful ranches in the county. Olivia's school grew as Benton prospered, eventually requiring a second teacher to accommodate all the children. On their 5th wedding anniversary, Cole surprised Olivia with a trip back to the hilltop where he'd proposed. They rode up at sunset, little Charles and Emma secured in front of them on their horses. "You ever regret it?" Cole asked as they looked out over their domain. "Staying in Benton instead of returning to Boston?" Olivia smiled, thinking of the frightened, heartbroken woman she'd been and the confident, loved woman she'd become. "Never," she said, reaching for his hand. "Not for a single moment." As the sun dipped below the mountains, casting golden light across the land they both loved, Cole pulled her close for a kiss that held all the promise of their shared future, a future born from a moment of kindness at a stagecoach stop, when a rejected mail-order bride found not just a protector but a true partner to walk beside her through life's journey.